Part 94. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 931. After Wang Feng and the others left and started their treasure hunt operation, the other Hope Expeditionary Forces were not idle either. They had just improved their strength and needed to get used to their bodies. Therefore, Du Enlai divided them into 9 troops. Separately entered the land of God's punishment to find monsters that they could fight. This can not only train the team, but also increase one's own food reserves. It can be said to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Of course, each team only has over 10,000 soldiers, which is somewhat dangerous in a place like the land of God's punishment. Fortunately, due to the improvement in strength, basically all the soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force now have the ability to fly. Although they are not very skilled, it should not be a problem to use it to save their lives when encountering a crisis. As for Qiujian, Xiaowu, Qiao, and Qingxuan, they still have no flying ability, but they are not in a hurry to improve their strength, and their survivability is also very strong, so no one has to worry about them. The only concern now is that they are afraid of encountering flying monsters. However, since they entered the land of God's punishment, they have never encountered a flying monster. And according to Dong Huangtai, he has not seen any flying monsters in the land of God's punishment for so long. He has passed flying monsters, so this worry is not big. In the blink of an eye, all the Hope Expeditionary Force left the city. Anyway, this city was not theirs in the first place, and because there were enough buildings and no tents or anything like that, there was no need to leave anyone to guard them. As for Xiaowu, Qiujian, number 7 and Qingxuan, they formed a small group and went to the land of God's punishment. Although they do not have the ability to fly, their personal combat power is strong, so they are not afraid. If they really encounter an invincible monster, at least they can escape. Wang Feng was on the fighter plane, looking down. The flight altitude he controlled was not high, because he had seen the small camps of the Forgotten, which were made of stones as a circle, and there was no comparison with their base camp. Especially now that all the Forsaken camps should be free of undead, so they have to search carefully, otherwise they may miss a small camp if they are not careful. Due to the high speed of the small fighter plane, Wang Feng discovered a small camp half an hour after setting off. It may be because the forgotten people in these small camps did not see the rescued souls with their own eyes. Therefore, unlike the forgotten ones at the base camp, they didn't care as much about Wang Feng's requests. Therefore, after receiving the news, they immediately set off and returned to the base camp. As for the forgotten people who were buried by them before, they simply ignored them. Later, after confirming that Wang Feng and the others could really release their souls, they did not dare to leave, for fear that they would not be able to make it by then. Therefore, there are quite a few green light spots around this small camp. After Wang Feng marked all the light spots with his arrows, he left a fighter plane and the soldiers on it and left directly. These remaining warriors will dig out all the bones of the Forsaken here and then bring them back to the city where they set out. This is their job today. Afterwards, Wang Feng continued to search. He used the starting city as the center point and used circles to expand the search range outwards. This ensured that no small camp was missed. Therefore, on the way, he accidentally bumped into other teams of the Hope Expeditionary Force. If there is a camp of the Forgotten next to these troops, then Wang Feng will directly direct those troops to dig out the undead skeletons around the small camp. If not, then Wang Feng will simply say hello above. Then he continued his treasure hunting journey. In this way, a week passed quickly, and there were fewer and fewer camps for the Forgotten. Especially on the 7th day, Wang Feng only found 2 small camps for the Forgotten. This is of course because the scope of their current exploration is too far away from the city where they are located, so the circle has become larger. In addition, with such a far distance, the number of Yin emperors among the Forgotten ones will naturally decrease accordingly. However, This week's search has once again improved the strength of the nearly 10,000 9th level warriors in the Hope Expeditionary Army. The current Hope Expeditionary Army, except for less than 100 people who are still at level 9, the rest they have all reached the 10th level threshold. And Wang Feng, now taking these 93 9th level warriors and Lu Wanting, goes out to find the camp of the forgotten people every day, and does not take the other people with him at all. And now he doesn't have to go back to that city every day. Sometimes he just finds a hill and rests there to save time. Wang Feng is very anxious now. He really doesn't want to think about this ghost place for a minute. Stay longer. Even in the later stage, when searching for the undead camp, he saw wild beasts on the fighter plane, but he was too lazy to go down and kill them, just not wanting to waste time. Duan Lei's expedition also achieved considerable results, because their 9 teams were centered on the city and radiated towards the land of God's punishment, so the distance between each team was not very far. Because they were walking, they had not returned to that city since they set out. Instead, they just found a hill and rested. At this time, they finally realized that there was no more trouble for Wang Feng. Tents and other things are second best. After all, given their strength, even if they lie directly on the ground to sleep, they will not feel any discomfort, let alone get sick. Of course, food is no longer a consideration for them. They won't starve to death even if they don't eat for a few days. They used to eat every morning and evening, more because of a habit than physical needs. The biggest trouble for them is that their prey may be because there are no forgotten people in the land of God's punishment. Therefore, the monsters that originally lived in the land of God's punishment appear to be quite active. Almost every team of these 9 teams encounters more than 2 waves of monsters every day, with varying numbers. If the monster population they encounter is too large, they will retreat directly and move to the side to ask for support from the troops approaching them. Especially those monsters cannot fly, so it is easy for them to deal with them, at least. As long as you are not careful, there is almost no danger to your life. But the corpses of these monsters gave the Hope Expeditionary Army a headache, especially those that were very large. Although they could lift them, it was the first time that the Hope Expeditionary Army, who was used to having Wang Feng in the team, carried them. Marching with so many monster corpses suddenly became a bit unaccustomed. Fortunately, sometimes they can encounter Wang Feng's fighter planes. At this time, they are the happiest. They were just like before on the planet Atlantis, when they had just encountered the end of the world and were besieged in the city. They saw just like when they rescued the helicopter, they jumped and shouted excitedly, asking Wang Feng Jia to come and receive their results. Later, Wang Feng got used to it. After receiving one, he simply went around the circle again and took back all the spoils of the other 8 armies into the Xianyuan space. He also did this every 2 days. It can be regarded as reducing the burden on those soldiers. When a week passed again, the treasure hunting team now only had 1 fighter plane, Wang Feng, and on top of the fighter plane, there were only Wang Feng, Lu Wanting, and Lin Li. The only 9th level warrior in the current Hope Expeditionary Force is Lin Li, because he did not follow Wang Feng and the others before, but was given to Duan Lei's team to control the monsters in the land of God's punishment. Now this guy's monster army has nearly 1,000 monsters of various sizes, all sizes, and the whole is a mixed army. If it weren't for the fact that the creatures he controls now have reached their limit, Wang Feng might not be able to pull him onto the fighter plane. Wang Feng was driving the fighter plane while looking down. Ever since they went a certain distance beyond the city, they had never found any undead camps. Not even monsters or hills could be seen. Everything was the same all around. The scenery is a red plain with a bloody sky. Are we, out of the scope of the land of God's punishment? Lu Wanting asked, a little confused. She didn't know why, but it seemed to be a woman's intuition. She always felt that the current environment gave her a very uncomfortable feeling. Wang Feng also felt that the surrounding environment was a bit strange now, but after thinking about it, It was still early anyway, and there would be at least 6 hours before night fell. They still had enough time, so they continued to fly the plane and followed the established schedule. Direction: continue to circle. However, after flying around for more than 2 hours, although Wang Feng had pulled the small fighter very low, only about 3 meters from the ground, he still found nothing. In desperation, Wang Feng had no choice but to shake his head and start to return. In his heart, he had accepted Lu Wanting's statement. Perhaps, the distance between them now really exceeded the scope of the land of divine punishment. Now, have we found all the undead skeletons? Lu Wanting asked on the way back. Wang Feng shook his head. I don't know either. Let's go back and ask Dong Huangtai. However, there seemed to be an accident on the way back, because after flying at full speed for 3 hours, the surrounding scenery still did not change. When they searched in circles, but on the return trip, they flew directly in a straight line. Logically speaking, they should be able to see a small mountain in more than an hour. Although the monitoring system of the small fighter plane completely failed in the land of God's punishment, Wang Feng was confident that his sense of direction was correct. The direction back to the city was the direction they were heading now. However, looking at the unchanging scenery ahead, Wang Feng felt, their trouble is coming. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 932. Wang Feng frowned and drove the fighter plane forward. It was about to enter the night. Wang Feng didn't know whether there would be space cracks and electromagnetic storms here. But there was no hill in sight, so they couldn't find a safe area to spend the night. Wang Feng was a little anxious, because Lu Wanting was still on his fighter plane. Once he encountered a space crack, the consequences would be. However, even if Wang Feng increased the speed of the fighter plane to the limit, he still didn't fly out of this strange area when night fell. Wang Feng turned on the spotlight on the fighter plane and continued to fly forward. Anyway, it was already dark now. Whether he continued to fly or stopped, the probability of encountering danger was the same. After flying in the dark for more than an hour, Wang Feng finally landed the fighter plane, because under normal circumstances, he should have returned to the city by this time. Now that this situation has occurred, Wang Feng understands that there is only one possibility, that is, they didn't know when they broke into an unknown area. Now they knew nothing about this place, and Wang Feng estimated that even if he ran in the direction he had previously identified, he would never be able to escape from this unknown area. After stopping the fighter, Wang Feng asked Lu Wanting and Lin Li to stay in the fighter. Although it would not be of any help in the fighter once a space crack appeared, at least they would feel safe in a closed space. When he came to the ground, Wang Feng squatted down, grabbed a handful of soil from the ground, put it in front of his nose and smelled it, then frowned. There was a hint of blood in the soil here, and he didn't know what creature left it. After turning around, Wang Feng didn't find anything, so he had to return to the fighter, thought about it, and started the fighter again. Although it was dark, it was not absolutely dark because of the lights of the small fighter, so his eyes could still work. After flying for more than 2 hours, Wang Feng finally found a very small hill. This hill is different from the hills they had seen before. It is a very gentle and low hill. It can't even be called a hill. It can only be regarded as a small mound of earth. However, on this small mound of earth, there stands a portal. Wang Feng flew around the small mound of earth twice, and after confirming that there were no other abnormalities around, he stopped the fighter plane 2 kilometers away from the small mound. Wang Feng didn't know what was going on in the small mound of earth, so he didn't dare to let the fighter plane get too close. Afterwards, Wang Feng still let Lu Wanting and Lin Li stay on the fighter plane, and then he jumped off the fighter plane and walked towards the portal. After arriving at the portal, Wang Feng looked at the portal. The style and size were exactly the same as those on the mother planet, without any difference. Wang Feng took a breath and then put his hand on the portal. The moment his hand touched the portal started. And at the moment the portal started, a huge suction came from the portal. Before Wang Feng understood what was going on, his body was sucked into the portal. Wind. Lu Wanting, who had been staring at Wang Feng, couldn't help but exclaimed. From the posture of Wang Feng entering the portal, it can be seen that he did not take the initiative to go in. Lu Wanting immediately opened the shield of the fighter and said in a hurry, "Wait here." Then, she took off and floated towards the portal. After the portal sucked Wang Feng in, the water curtain began to fade gradually. Seeing this, Lu Wanting directly increased her speed to the limit, but before she reached the portal, the water curtain still dissipated. Looking at the closed portal, Lu Wanting directly stretched out her hand and pressed on the portal, but the portal did not respond at all. Lu Wanting stood there for a long time, staring blankly at the portal. She didn't turn around until Lin Li came behind her. "What should we do?" Lin Li looked at Lu Wanting and asked softly. "Wait." Lu Wanting gritted her teeth. She had seen Wang Feng driving a fighter plane before. This place was very strange. Lu Wanting didn't know if they could find the portal again once they left here. Therefore, although she had thought that this portal would be one way, she still chose to wait here. Wang Feng only felt a huge suction force sucking him into the portal, and then he was already in a familiar place. Looking at the busy street in front of him, Wang Feng suddenly felt as if he had just had a dream. Zombies, mutants, devourers, cosmic ghosts, these creatures should not exist. Because he was now in Black Dragon City on Atlantis, which was the area where the Hope Base was originally located. Of course, the Hope Base was built in Ganlin County because Black Dragon City was too close to the sea. But now, in the Black Dragon City where he was, people were walking on the street, some were hurried, some were leisurely, some were laughing and playing. Where was the hint of the end of the world? Looking down at his clothes, he still wore the camouflage he wore before. After sensing it with his consciousness, he found that Xianyuan space was still there. Wang Feng finally confirmed that he was not dreaming, but had truly experienced the end of the world. However, for some reason, he returned to Black Dragon City, and it was the Black Dragon City before the end of the world. Wang Feng stood up from the chair on the street and walked aimlessly in one direction, looking left and right at the familiar street. This was the pedestrian street in the center of Black Dragon City, and it was the most prosperous street in Black Dragon City. Amid the rolling crowd, Wang Feng was a little confused. He didn't know what he was doing here. In addition, was there another self in this world? And Wang Feng soon found something wrong, because it seemed that the surrounding buildings were all what he saw when he was a child, and the people coming and going, and the clothes on their bodies, also looked very old. Wang Feng casually entered a store on the street. When he saw the date on it, he was stunned. If he calculated according to the date on it, he should be only 8 years old in this world and still in elementary school. He stood there for a long time, until the clerk came over and asked Wang Feng politely if he needed anything. He woke up as if from a dream, and walked out of the store directly without paying attention to the clerk and several customers in the store. Afterwards, Wang Feng wandered around Black Dragon City for a long time, but he had no clue at all. If this situation happened when he first entered the apocalypse, Wang Feng would be so happy that he would go crazy. Only those who have lived in the apocalypse will know how happy the seemingly ordinary life is. It's just that when they had this kind of life before, no one would cherish it, including the current Wang Feng, who doesn't think this kind of life is suitable for him. If there were no Hope Expeditionary Force, no Lu Wanting, no Duan Lei, no Number 7, no. Perhaps, Wang Feng would calm down, stay in this world, and live well, but now, he has too many concerns. He is concerned about everyone in the Hope Expeditionary Force. The military uniform and Xianyuan space on his body, as well as the strand of hair that he just floated to verify his guess, all proved that Wang Feng's previous experience was not a dream. The Hope Expeditionary Force is still trapped in the land of God's punishment, and they may still face danger at any time. Although the Forgotten should no longer exist, since the founder can get Wang Feng to this place, they may of course encounter any unexpected situation. Wang Feng circled around the place where he arrived in this world countless times, trying to find the portal that sent him here. He even grabbed every clerk around him and asked them if they found out how he got here. But everyone answered that they didn't notice it, and looked at Wang Feng with a madman's eyes. In this era, men with hair that can reach their shoulders will be regarded as aliens, not to mention that Wang Feng's hair has already exceeded his waist. This is because Wang Feng has been controlling himself not to use his hair, otherwise, the flying hair in the sky is enough to make everyone treat him as a monster. Even so, Wang Feng still attracted the attention of a security guard. He secretly called the police. When the police came, Wang Feng felt something was wrong. While the police hadn't come to him yet, Wang Feng quickly slipped away. With his current strength, in front of these ordinary people, even if he didn't launch a gust of wind, no one could keep up with his speed. He didn't dare to meet the police now. Because he doesn't even have an ID card now, or in other words, there shouldn't be a person like him in this world. If Wang Feng takes action, I'm afraid no one in this world can touch him, and Wang Feng can even conquer the world easily. But Wang Feng didn't think so in his heart. He didn't want to control this world. He just wanted to go back to where he came from, back to the land of divine punishment, and continue to go on with the Hope Expeditionary Army. After hurriedly taking out the Black Dragon City, Wang Feng breathed a sigh of relief. He originally wanted to go to his school to see himself when he was 8 years old, but now he thought about it and decided not to. Even if he did see him, what would he say? Should he tell him that the end of the world will come in more than 10 years, and tell him that he is him? After shaking his head, Wang Feng finally gave up. Although he returned to this familiar world, there was no one he was familiar with. This can be said to be a kind of loneliness. However, when Wang Feng saw his military uniform, his eyes suddenly lit up. He thought that in this world, he was not a person he was familiar with. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 933. Yes, in this era, Wang Feng still knew people, and there were more than one. At least, Fuxi in the cave under the Black Dragon Bridge and the instructor Li Yingning were all familiar to Wang Feng. However, at this time, Wang Feng began to hesitate. Should he go to them and tell them the future development trajectory? If he said it, would it change history? Wang Feng is now confident that the door to the underwater passage can be opened, because the function of his hair has not been lost, while Li Yingning is even more simple. That guy is the Devourer, has lived in Atlantis for a long time, and must in the military world. If you want to find him, you can definitely find him. However, Li Yingning was not his instructor yet, so he should not gain his trust. If Li Yingning's identity was revealed, Li Yinghui might directly kill him. Although Wang Feng was now at the level of 11th level creatures, Wang Feng still felt unsure when facing Li Yingning. After all, the shadow left by Li Yingning in his heart was too deep. As for Fuxi, it's even simpler. He is at the end of the cave in the Black Dragon. For Wang Feng now, the underwater passage that almost caused him to collapse was nothing at all. Moreover, Fuxi's location is fixed, so if he wants to find him, he will definitely be able to find him. He may even be able to persuade Fuxi to use the Yanhuang horn to directly prevent the Kali tribe from launching the apocalyptic skyfire when they arrive. Moreover, the reason why the cosmic ghost discovered Atlantis was because the Devourer found this human planet, and the Devourer found this place because it was tracking the Kali spacecraft. In other words, if I can convince Fuxi to let him hand over the Yanhuang to me, and I pilot the Yanhuang out now, I can directly intercept the Kali tribe's spaceship and force them to change direction. In this way, not only will the apocalypse not appear, Atlantis will not be exposed. Even with Wang Feng's current strength and the addition of the Yanhuang, it may not take much effort to kill the Devourer brood. Without the minions of this cosmic ghost, they would not be able to find Atlantis. However, if this is the case, maybe he in this world will never be able to reach the height he is now. Wang Feng even thought that if he really killed the Devourer brood and changed the trajectory of history, maybe, he will also disappear directly the moment the Devourer's brood is killed. Wang Feng thought as he moved forward unconsciously. He still could not make up his mind. If he really took action to intercept the Kali tribe or even annihilate the Devourers, he would not be able to get to know Lu Wanting, Lu Jiang, Lu Feng, Qiu Jian. Even number 7 will die under his own attack in the near future. I don't know how much time passed, but when Wang Feng came back to his senses, he found that he had actually arrived at the Black Dragon Bridge, standing in the middle of the bridge, facing the rolling river below. At this time, it was already late at night, the sky was full of stars, and the bright moon was hanging high. Looking up at the intoxicating night sky, Wang Feng's heart suddenly became peaceful. He just stood on the bridge blankly, looking at the long-lost night sky dreamily, his mind went blank. I don't know how long it took, but Wang Feng was suddenly awakened by a noisy sound. He looked along the source of the sound and found that it was a long motorcade heading towards the Black Dragon Bridge. The illuminated convoy was like a long dragon, winding forward in the darkness. Wang Feng turned around curiously and looked at the convoy. He discovered that this convoy was actually a military vehicle. When the convoy drove onto Heilong Bridge, the first jeep stopped in front of Wang Feng. Then, a colonel jumped out of the car and shouted to Wang Feng. "Hey! That soldier! Which army are you from? What are you doing here? How did you get in?" Wang Feng was stunned, but the previous words were easy to understand. He was wearing camouflage, and when he saw this convoy just now, Wang Feng unconsciously adopted a standard military stance. But what does it mean to get in? Heilong Bridge was originally the only bridge connecting Heilong City to the outside world by land. Why couldn't I come up? And what did he say about coming in? Seeing Wang Feng didn't answer, the colonel frowned. What are you asking? Are you mute? Wang Feng didn't feel anything about the colonel's rude words. Soldiers are like this. To ordinary people, they will speak very politely, but to fellow soldiers, especially big-headed soldiers like Wang Feng, it was very polite of the colonel to start scolding him without coming up. Report. Wang Feng stood at attention and then gave a military salute. The other party was a colonel. His military rank was much higher than that of him before the end of the world, so he could afford a military salute from him. Wang Feng looked around and said in confusion. That's how I got here. Wang Feng was telling the truth, because he had been struggling with what he should do just now, so even he himself didn't know how he came to Black Dragon Bridge. The colonel obviously didn't believe even a single punctuation mark in Wang Feng's answer. Their troops received orders from their superiors to go to Black Dragon Mountain to replace equipment for a secret military reserve base. Since it was a secret, it must not be discovered. Therefore, during this period of time, the area around Black Dragon Bridge had long been under martial law. How could a living person walk in directly? Hearing Wang Feng's answer, several soldiers behind the colonel raised their guns, pulled the bolts, and pointed the guns at Wang Feng, but Wang Feng ignored those soldiers. Now, let alone this old-fashioned rifle, even if they were seriously injured and hit him at close range, and he did not hide, he would not die, at most he would be seriously injured. Seeing Wang Feng's calm expression, the colonel took out the walkie-talkie and said to it. Something happened ahead. Wang Feng just watched the colonel report quietly. What he was thinking about now was whether he should jump into the water and go through the underwater passage to find Fuxi. After reporting, the colonel did not make any other moves, but stood in front of Wang Feng, waiting for the arrival of the great god. Wang Feng saw that the colonel did not speak, and guessed that he should be waiting for someone with a higher military rank, or someone who could really decide some things, so Wang Feng ignored him, turned around, and looked down at the Black Dragon River. In fact, Wang Feng did not know that just now, when he was thinking about things in a daze, he relied on his instinct to break through the three lines of defense of the military in succession. Since entering the end of the world, Wang Feng has hardly stopped fighting, so some actions have become his instincts. Even if he does not deliberately control his body, it is probably impossible for ordinary people to knock him down. Less than a minute later, there was a sound of footsteps behind Wang Feng, and then a familiar voice came into Wang Feng's ears. "What's going on? Who is this guy?" Hearing this familiar voice, Wang Feng's body shook, and he turned around like a whirlwind, which scared the soldiers who were pointing guns at him. One of the soldiers even pulled the trigger because of nervousness. Tap! Ta-ta! A standard 3-shot burst. The rhythm was quite good, but this automatic rifle that fired 3 bullets was aimed at Wang Feng, so the bullets were naturally fired at Wang Feng. The soldier who knew that he had caused a big disaster was scared pale, but the bullet had been fired and could not be recovered. The soldier closed his eyes, but waited for a long time, but did not hear any screams. He opened his eyes and found that Wang Feng was still standing there as if nothing had happened, playing with 3 bullets in his hand, and muttering softly. "Type 75 automatic rifle, I have seen it in the museum. I didn't expect that I would be shot by this kind of gun." The colonel was also dumbfounded. Who was this guy in front of him? Can he catch the bullet with his hands? Also, what the hell is a museum? The Type 75 is the latest equipment of the army now, and only the main force with a title like them is qualified to equip it. And the soldier who just shot the bullet was able to ride in the same car with him, so he was naturally not an ordinary person. At least he had passed the political review, so it was unlikely that he was acting with the guy in front of him. That is to say, everything he saw in front of him was real. The other soldiers were all stunned by Wang Feng's move. It was the first time they saw someone who could catch a bullet with his hands, and it was a 3-round burst of powerful Type 75 automatic rifle. Is this still a human? Even if it was the strongest soldier among the special forces, if he stood in Wang Feng's position to deal with these 3 bullets, he would probably be dead or disabled. Among these soldiers, the only one who remained calm was the one who asked the question just now. He looked at Wang Feng seriously, then strode forward, came to Wang Feng, and asked, "Where are you from?" Wang Feng loosened his grip and let the 3 bullets fall to the ground. Then he raised his head and smiled at the soldier in front of him, who was dressed in military uniform, had a straight figure, and had camouflage paint on his face. "Where I come from, is much closer than where you come from. Long time no see. Instructor Li Yingning." The soldier standing in front of Wang Feng was Instructor Li Yingning. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 934. Wang Feng heard what Li Yingning said before. After seeing Li Yingning, Wang Feng felt a little warm in his heart. Although he knew that the instructor in front of him, Li Yingning, did not know him, he still felt friendly. At the same time, he also guessed the destination of this army. Of course, the weapons that Wang Feng and his team later moved out of the reserve base were not the weapons that this army was going to replace now, but the weapons that were replaced again later. Li Yingning was stunned when he heard what Wang Feng said, and then a cold light shot out of his eyes. From the words "much closer than where you came from," he heard what Wang Feng meant. He didn't know how Wang Feng knew his identity, and he was sure that he had never seen Wang Feng. Although he had lived on this planet for many years, Li Yingning was confident that his memory was very good. Especially for someone like Wang Feng, if he had seen him, he would definitely not have no impression. Li Yingning waved his hand, signaling the colonel to take the others to retreat. The colonel was stunned, but immediately executed Li Yingning's order. He took his subordinates and retreated far away, but he was still on guard. Now Wang Feng has risen to a terrifying level in their hearts, especially now they are not even sure whether Wang Feng is an enemy or a friend. While retreating, the colonel also cursed the guy who shot before. Gui Weavong. You rookie. Who the hell told you to shoot? I'll deal with you when I get back. Puff. Hearing the colonel's words, Wang Feng almost drowned in his own saliva. It turned out that the guy who shot at him just now was Gui Weavong. Recalling carefully, it seems that there seems to be a shadow of Gui Weavong on that guy's still somewhat immature face. Unexpectedly, this guy actually had a time when his gun went off because of nervousness. If he could return, Wang Feng would definitely remember to use this incident to embarrass him. However, thinking of Gui Weavong risking his life to save him when they fought side by side for the first time, Wang Feng smiled lightly and thought to himself. Gui. You shot me 3 times now, but you saved me once later, so we are even. If I help you publicize today's deeds after I go back, you can't blame me. When all the people nearby evacuated and only Wang Feng and Li Yingning were left, Li Yingning looked into Wang Feng's eyes and asked slowly. Do you know who I am? Devourer. Wang Feng smiled lightly. Although you are a prince, I think it's more convenient to call you instructor. Li Yingning was shocked again. This guy in front of him not only knew that he was a devourer, but also knew his identity. Who was he? However, Li Yingning did not attack Wang Feng immediately. One reason was that he felt a terrifying aura from Wang Feng and knew that this guy should not be able to deal with him. Another point was that he did not see any hostility in Wang Feng's eyes. Instead, he had a feeling that Wang Feng seemed very close to him, and there was also a little inexplicable admiration. If Wang Feng was also a devourer, Li Yingning could barely find a reason for himself, but he knew that Wang Feng was a human being. Although he was very powerful, he was 100% a human being and was definitely not a devourer. First, my name is not Li Yingning. Li Yingning was Li Yingning after all, and soon regained his composure, but as soon as he opened his mouth, Wang Feng became uneasy. Second, I am not an instructor either. I am the commander of the 8th Army of the Southwest Military Region, Hanwujin, with the rank of Lieutenant General. This time, it was Wang Feng's turn to be stunned. What's going on? Shouldn't he be called Li Yingning? Why is there another endless hate? And a Lieutenant General? But Wang Feng reacted immediately. No way. Dark Assassin, hasn't been established yet? And your name Endless Hate doesn't sound that loud. Looking at Li Yingning, Wang Feng was still used to treating him as Li Yingning. This name probably means you hate your endless life, right? But, I think I should be able to help you solve some troubles this time. On this planet, I have no troubles. Li Yingning's tone was steady, but the words he said were quite domineering. I have no troubles. Yeah. Wang Feng nodded. At least not now, and the troubles I want to help you solve are indeed not on this planet. The Kali tribe should still be fleeing in this direction. It will probably take another 10 to 20 years. Do you think there will be devourers following them? Then, when they find that there are humans on this planet, will the mother nest come? And after the mother nest comes here, will it let you go? No matter how you prepare, when the mother nest passes the coordinates of this planet to the cosmic ghost, can you withstand their attack? Wang Feng's series of wills and can'ts completely stunned Li Yingning. It's okay to know about the devourer, but this guy actually knows about the Kali tribe and the cosmic ghost? And he also knows that the Kali tribe is moving in this direction, and he also knows that his biggest trouble is the mother nest. You are from another planet. Li Yingning took a deep breath. Although the devourer didn't need to breathe, after being disguised among humans for so long, Li Yingning also learned many habitual human actions. Kindness. Wang Feng tilted his head and thought for a moment, then shook his head and said, I don't know either, but at least I can tell you that you don't have to worry too much about the brood. I will try my best to kill him. As for how to do it, that's my business. And I do it mainly for protect the coordinates of Atlantis from being exposed, so you don't have to be too grateful to me. Even, I want to thank you very much, instructor. As he spoke, Wang Feng stood at attention and saluted Li Yingning with a military salute. Thank you, instructor, I finally know what to do. I will try my best to kill the brood. Even if I can't kill him, at least I will make the Kali ship change its direction. So, at least in this generation and the next there should be no danger in Atlantis until all human beings die of old age. After putting down his hand, Wang Feng suddenly smiled and said, Instructor, actually I still think, the name Instructor Li Yingning is more suitable for you. Moreover, training rookies is really a fun thing. I suggest you try it. Then, without any warning, Wang Feng jumped up and jumped to the Black Dragon River below, and left his last words. Instructor, my name is Wang Feng. When you see that rookie in the future, remember to take care of me. Li Yingning took a few steps forward, looked at the Black Dragon River below, and murmured. Instructor, training rookie, it sounds really good. Li Yingning, this name, really suits me. A smile suddenly appeared on Li Yingning's poker face that had remained unchanged for thousands of years. He looked at the water patterns that spread outward due to Wang's wind like water. Wang Feng? Don't worry. If I really meet you again and you are still a rookie, I will definitely take good care of you. A few years later, when Wang Feng of this world joined the army, he was directly named by the instructor who had changed his name to Li Yingning and also changed his profession to train rookies, and entered the special training camp. A week after entering the special training camp, Wang Feng, a rookie who loves watching horror movies, his biggest wish in life is to hope that the end of the world will come, and then he will become a zombie and bite this devilish son of a bitch instructor to death. After Wang Feng jumped into the Black Dragon River, he saw the familiar entrance to the underwater passage at a glance. Originally, Wang Feng had not made up his mind. After all, he now has almost endless life and powerful power. If he does what he wants, if he does that thing, he might lose everything he has now. However, the appearance of instructor Li Yingning and those soldiers made him suddenly make a decision, because the familiar olive green and the specious young faces reminded Wang Feng of the tall army in the Hope Base. The names engraved on the soul tablet. If my idea is really realized, those little guys should not encounter the coming of heavenly fire, the end of the world, the devourer, or death in the best years of their lives, right? Being able to allow the vast majority of them to spend this life peacefully instead of becoming names on stone tablets in their prime years, Wang Feng suddenly felt that even if he was really in the devourer's nest, when you die, it doesn't seem to be a big deal if you disappear with it. At least, there is Wang Feng in this world who can take his place and continue his life, and in his life, there should be no more enemies such as zombies, cosmic ghosts, and devourers. Of course, there will be no Lu wanting. The underwater passage is still so long, but Wang Feng's current speed is completely different from that before. In just 1.5 days, he has reached the door. Moreover, after knowing the way of life of the forgotten people, especially seeing the skeletons that were built in walls or buried in the ground for tens of thousands or even tens of thousands of years, the absolute silence and darkness now seem to be no different than before. So scary. After inserting his hair into the small holes on the door opened smoothly. Standing inside was a person that Wang Feng had never expected. He was looking at Wang Feng with a smile on his face. You are indeed here. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 935. Wang Feng looked at the person standing in front of him, his eyes almost popped out. This person was not Fuxi, and Wang Feng never expected that this person would appear here. Dong Huang Tai. Wang Feng's mind couldn't turn around for a while, and he stammered. How did you appear here? That's right, the person standing in front of Wang Feng was not Fuxi, but actually Dong Huang Tai, and it was the same Dong Huang Tai they met in the land of divine punishment. Dong Huang Tai seemed to be very satisfied with Wang Feng's expression and smiled brightly. Why can't I be here? Where is the third master? Wang Feng looked behind Dong Huang Tai and found no other people. Even the person with the combination of light and shadow was gone. Fuxi? He's in the primordial star. Dong Huang Tai replied. No. I know he is in the original star, but, according to this era, he should be here. Aren't you in the land of God's punishment now? Wang Feng was a little confused. He felt that his brain was a little insufficient. In a situation like this, Duan Lei should be the one to come. Come in first. Dong Huang Tai did not answer Wang Feng's question, but turned around and walked inside. You must have a lot of questions in your mind. Come inside and I will explain them to you. However, there is not enough time, so I suggest that we can talk while walking on the road. Wang Feng quickly followed. On the way? Where are we going? Kill the devourer brood. Dong Huang Tai replied without replying. Have you never thought about killing them? Wang Feng almost fell to the ground. Didn't it mean that Dong Huang Tai had lost the ability to predict? Why does he even know what he wants to do now? But that's fine. It seems that the words he originally planned to use to convince Fu 11 are no longer needed. Dong Huang Tai will probably give him the Yanhuang number for his use. However, in this way, the course of history will be completely changed. The Sky-Fire will not come in the apocalypse, and the apocalypse will not appear. Of course, the hope base will not be established, and those majestic, tragic, and evocative people and things will remain forever. Become his only memory. No. The moment he killed the devourer, he should have dissipated between heaven and earth like the souls of the forgotten ones in the land of divine punishment, as if he had never existed. Not only would his own memory disappear, and he will no longer exist in anyone's memory. However, Wang Feng still followed Dong Huang Tai without stopping at all. The moment he said goodbye to Li Yingning and jumped into the water, he was already ready to use his own life to conquer the Soul Monument. The cold names turned into young smiling faces again. Wang Feng felt that he was not at a loss. Although no one may know what he is about to do except Dong Huang Tai in front of him, but what does it matter? As long as he knows it, that's enough. Following Dong Huang Tai, he walked until he came to the space battleship that Wang Feng was quite familiar with. Looking at the Yanhuang, Wang Feng couldn't help but feel excited. Haha. Put it away. Dong Huang Tai turned to Wang Feng and smiled. What? Wang Feng was stunned. Did I say put it away? Dong Huang Tai looked at Wang Feng with a puzzled expression. Do you want to just drive it and rush out from the underground? This is a normal world now, and it will cause panic. Oh. Only then did Wang Feng react, and then he stepped forward and waved his hand unceremoniously, receiving the Yanhuang number into the Xianyuan space. Phew. Okay. Let's go up. I'll tell you everything you want to know during the space voyage. After all, we should still have several years to go. When Dong Huang Tai saw the Yanhuang Hao disappear, he felt as if a stone in his heart had fallen to the ground, and he let out a sigh of relief and said. Later, Dong Huang Tai took Wang Feng to an elevator, opened the elevator and walked in. Wang Feng naturally followed. When the elevator stopped, Wang Feng discovered that the elevator actually appeared in an underground cave. After walking along the underground cave for half an hour, Dong Huangtai opened a secret portal and walked out. At this time, it was already the early morning of the next day, and the firstborn sunlight shone on people's bodies, giving them a lazy feeling. Wang Feng looked at the surrounding jungle and couldn't help but marvel at the ingenious design of this exit. After Dong Huangtai came out, he took out a delicate controller from his body, then turned on the safety and pressed a red button. Then, Wang Feng felt the earth shake slightly, and then slowly fell silent. Okay. Put this in your space, it can't stay here. Dong Huangtai casually threw the controller in his hand to Wang Feng, and then said. You can fly, right? Take me to the orbit of the planet, and then release the Yanhuang and start our space voyage. Although it will be detected by the satellites of this planet, let them guess, they will die anyway. No one. Can you wait for me here? Wang Feng hesitated and said. Dong Huangtai was stunned, then nodded. Okay. I just happened to go to taste the delicacies of the world for the last time, by the way. Do you have money? Before Wang Feng and Yang Feng had time to answer, Dong Huangtai himself began to shake his head. Forgot. You should be poorer than me, how could you be rich? If I had known better, before destroying this underground base, I should have taken out some random things and exchanged some money with others. Wang Feng thought for a while and suddenly smiled. It's okay. I have money. I'll take you to a big dinner. Dong Huangtai was stunned, but looking at Wang Feng's confident look, Dong Huangtai didn't say much and followed Wang Feng towards Black Dragon City. Because they were in the wild and there were no human traces, their speed was quite fast. However, when they reached the road, their speed slowed down, otherwise it would be a bit shocking. It was not until noon that the two entered Heilong City again. Wang Feng took Dong Huangtai to one of the most high-end hotels in Heilong City, and then climbed to the open-air restaurant on the rooftop on the top floor. When dining here, you can overlook the scenery of Heilong City, and you can also see Heilong Mountain and the sea in the distance. It is the most expensive place in Heilong City. Although the clothes of Wang Feng and Dong Huangtai are not gorgeous, they both hold high positions and naturally have a temperament that ordinary people cannot possess. The waiters in the hotel are also quite discerning and know that these two people must have a good background. And now led the two of them to a location with the best view. As soon as the two sat down, someone brought tea and then two menus. Wang Feng didn't even look at the menu and directly reported the names of the 6 dishes. This hotel was not far from his elementary school, so when he passed by when he was a child, he and Duan Lei would each get 2 steamed buns and then read eating steamed buns while looking at the menu posters posted outside this hotel. Now, he can finally taste it for himself. Dong Huangtai had never been here before. He came with a menu and ordered 7 or 8 dishes. The two of them ordered more than 10 dishes, but the waiter on the side didn't look strange at all. Who comes here just to eat? Either to show off, just to show off, or just to show off. Especially Wang Feng's attitude made the waiter confirm his judgment. Therefore, after the two of them ordered the dishes, he immediately notified the chef to give them priority to serve the dishes on this table. The funniest thing is that the hotel's security manager specifically found the waiter and asked him to be careful not to offend these two people. The reason was that it must be difficult for a soldier to have such long hair, so he must not get into trouble. In this era, wars broke out on the border, so the status of soldiers was quite high. From the way Wang Feng walked, the security captain, a veteran, could guarantee that Wang Feng was definitely a real soldier, especially there was a vague murderous aura in him, which could only be found in soldiers who had experienced real bloody battles. Wang Feng was indeed constantly experiencing bloody battles, but his enemies were not human beings. But the veteran has regarded Wang Feng as a giant in the army. Although Wang Feng looks very young and does not wear a military rank, the military uniform he wears is something that even this veteran has never seen before. Veterans regard him as the most elite member of the army. Wang Feng naturally didn't know about their misunderstanding about him, and he didn't care, because in fact, he brought Dong Huang Tai to eat the overlord meal today. Of course, before eating, he had another thing that was important to him personally. More important things to do. You eat first, I'll come as soon as I can. After Wang Feng finished ordering, he took the tea and said to Dong Huang Tai, then stood up and took a sip of tea before preparing to leave. Honey, you won't leave like this and never come back, right? Dong Huang Tai whispered nervously. Puff. Wang Feng sprayed Dong Huang Tai's face with a sip of tea, then looked at him and couldn't help laughing. Ha 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 ha. So you are also scared sometimes. Grass. Dong Huang Tai looked annoyed, picked up a tissue and wiped the tea on his face, and said. Nonsense. I can't fly. I can't really kill people. What if you run away and they ask me for money? Don't worry. I still have many questions waiting for you to answer. I will definitely not leave you behind. Wang Feng said with a smile, then turn around and stride away. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 936. Seeing Wang Feng's heroic steps as he left, the security captain had a look of reverence on his face. This is what a soldier is, a real soldier. Coming downstairs, Wang Feng walked towards the elementary school where he once studied. He knew that if he went there, the final outcome would be to completely disappear between heaven and earth and cease to exist. Therefore, he wanted to take a look at what he had done when he was a child. Himself and Duan Lei. They were classmates in elementary school, grew up together, and later joined the army together, so they knew each other so well. It's time for school to end at noon. Wang Feng, who was in elementary school, should be going home with Duan Lei. Wang Feng is an orphan, but Duan Lei is not. Therefore, Wang Feng often goes to Duan Lei's house to have a meal. Wang Feng had just left the hotel for a short distance when his eyes were attracted by two children carrying school bags. The two children were still chatting as they walked. Yesterday was really unlucky. If only I knew the Doomsday Judgment, I could win. Bah! It's useless even if you learn Doomsday Judgment, I'm carrying a black dragon. Do you understand that I'm immune? Did you just talk about the Doomsday Judgment? Yes. Uncle. Do you also know about the Doomsday Judgment? I know. But I don't know if we are talking about the same person. What does the Doomsday Judgment you are talking about look like? It's just a bunch of fireballs falling from the sky and hitting the ground hard. The kind of magic that can kill all living things is called Doomsday Judgment. That's right. Then we seem to be talking about the same Doomsday Judgment. Really? Uncle. You also play Invincible Heroes? You have also seen this magic on the computer, right? Isn't it quite gorgeous? It's so spectacular. Gorgeous? Spectacular? No. Uncle doesn't think there's anything attractive about this magic, because it brings disaster. This Doomsday Judgment, Uncle has not seen it, but experienced it. Haha. Uncle is bragging. Uncle is not bragging. Maybe you will experience the scene in the future. Wang Feng was about to walk forward when a figure suddenly appeared and interrupted his movements. Then, he heard a familiar conversation. This scene had appeared in his dreams many times. Now, he finally knew where this memory that he did not have in his mind came from. Looking at the figures of Xiao Wang Feng and Duan Lei chasing away, and then looking at the back of the middle-aged man who had left, Wang Feng suddenly smiled. He looked at the middle-aged man's back and murmured. You are wrong. They should never be able to see the Doomsday Judgment in reality. Then, Wang Feng turned around and walked towards the hotel with firm steps, where his last meal in the world was waiting for him. Seeing that Wang Feng was really back, Dong Huangtai finally breathed a sigh of relief, and then started to eat. Wang Feng looked at the untouched dishes on the table and couldn't help laughing in his heart. Is Dong Huangtai so worried about himself? Besides, if he really doesn't come back, does he think that the hotel won't ask him for money if he doesn't eat a bite of the food he ordered? Wang Feng suddenly discovered that this Dong Huangtai seemed a bit naive, but so far, it was this Dong Huangtai who had more appetite for Wang Feng. Putting aside all his worries, Wang Feng began to eat and drink. What shocked the hotel waiter and the security captain was that Dong Huangtai and Wang Feng actually combined a dozen dishes on the table with a large group of people. The bowls of rice, pasta, and 4 bottles of white wine were all gone, and there was still more to enjoy. After eating and drinking, Wang Feng looked at Dong Huangtai, blinked and said, "You sit down for a while. I'm going to the toilet." "I'll go too." Dong Huangtai looked at Wang Feng with a determined look on his face. Now that he had finished eating, he would never let Wang Feng leave his sight. That's him. Wang Feng laughed and was about to speak when a voice suddenly stopped him from what he wanted to say. A policeman pointed at Wang Feng and said to a group of soldiers. This group of soldiers was fully armed, and they were all looking at Wang Feng. The leader strode forward, stood in front of Wang Feng, and looked Wang Feng up and down. As for Dong Huangtai on the side, he was attracted by him. "Just ignore it. Are you a soldier?" Looking at the soldier, Wang Feng smiled, and then said, "Tang Haoshan." Wang Feng suddenly felt that this world was really small. He had only been here for 2 days, and he actually saw Gui Weivu and Tang Haoshan in their youth, and even Li Yingning. However, the instructor Li Yingning in this world, what is called endless hatred? What kind of bad name is this? The devourer is the devourer. He has little education, and even naming himself is so awkward. The young Tang Haoshan was stunned. He didn't expect that the guy in front of him, who seemed to be a few years older than himself, actually knew him. And what military uniform did he belong to? "Why have you never seen it before?" "I joined the army when I was 16. I only had an old father in my family. He was very naughty when he was a child and always loved to get into trouble." Once. Wang Feng looked at Tang Haoshan with a smile on his face. During those days in the apocalypse, especially when the Hope Base was just established, core figures such as Tang Haoshan, Lu Feng, Du Enlai, and Gui Weivu were there more than once. We got together to chat once. Since it was the end of the world, everyone basically talked about their past. Even the most embarrassing things would be recounted to everyone. They laughed while talking, but the tears in their eyes couldn't stop staying. During those difficult days, only these small stories of the peaceful life in the past could make them find some comfort and some reliance in their hearts. Therefore, Wang Feng knew almost as much about Tang Haoshan in front of him as he did himself. Listening to Wang Feng's words, Tang Haoshan was extremely shocked. Who is this guy in front of him? He understands himself better than himself. What I said, should be right, right? Wang Feng asked with a smile. You. Tang Haoshan had just uttered a word, and suddenly stood at attention, and then asked. Excuse me, are you? My identity, I can't tell you yet. As for what I am here to do, you are not qualified to know. Seeing that Tang Haoshan had been frightened, Wang Feng simply started to pretend to be mysterious. But, if you want to verify my identity, well, you can ask Han Weivu. That guy should be right now, haha. Near here, right. Hearing Wang Feng's words, Tang Haoshan's doubts disappeared. It didn't matter if this person knew his own experience, because those were not secrets at all. If someone was interested, it would not be difficult to know. But as for the 8th Army Commander Han Weivu leading his team to Black Dragon Mountain, Even he only found out about it because he attended a meeting and heard his commander reminding the troops below to be careful during this period. Even the soldiers behind him didn't know about this. It was precisely because of their actions that made Tang Haoshan and the others so cautious. They just heard the policeman say that one person might be a fake soldier. Now that he is back, he leads his team to attack, wanting to see what happens. Since this person can tell this military secret in one breath, and dares to call him hentai boy, with a look of complete indifference on his face, then there is only one possibility, that is, they should be on the same level. Although Wang Feng looks very young and his military rank cannot be too high, Tang Haoshan knows that in the army, as long as you are capable, military rank does not mean everything. If a private has enough strength or backing, it's totally possible to chat and laugh with a colonel. Yes, Chief. Now that Wang Feng's identity has been confirmed, although he doesn't know the details, at least he is a soldier and not a spy or a liar, then Tang Haoshan feels that there is no need to stay. He knows that those who are familiar with people like Henwu are probably perverts, so it is better to have as little contact with them as possible. So he stood at attention and gave a military salute. Kindness. Wang Feng nodded grandly, and then said in an old-fashioned way. Xiao Tang. Let me remind you, because of your carelessness, if we were your enemies, you would have died countless times by now. Then, Wang Feng pointed at Dong Huangtai and said. Don't underestimate anyone because of your own negligence. Do you think this guy is just a freeloader? Hearing Wang Feng's words, Dong Huangtai was furious, but when he got up and was about to get angry, he realized that he came here just to eat and drink, so he continued to do so angrily. I'm telling you, if he wants to kill you, at this distance, you will be completely dead in less than half a breath. So, remember in the future, don't be careless when you can't distinguish between friend and foe. Tang Haoshan looked at Dong Huangtai with a suspicious look in his eyes. Wang Feng didn't care. From his body, Tao Haoshan could feel the invisible murderous aura, so he believed that Wang Feng was definitely a powerful soldier. But the guy next to me looked annoyed. Dong Huangtai also noticed Tang Haoshan's look. He didn't really care about this at first, but now he was scolded by Wang Feng and was feeling depressed. When he met this look, he ran away. Brush. Tang Haoshan felt his eyes blurred. Then, Dong Huangtai who was sitting there seemed to be shaken, and then there was a gun in his hand. Dong Huangtai casually threw the gun on the table. Then he picked up the teacup as if nothing had happened and took a sip of tea. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 937. Of course Tang Haoshan recognized the gun, because it was the standard equipment of their army, so he looked back and saw the last member standing in the team, still holding a gun with both hands, looking blankly. With his hands, it seems that he still hasn't figured out why his weapon suddenly disappeared. Understood, right? Remember today's lesson in the future. Wang Feng patted Tang Haoshan on the shoulder, and then walked out lightly. When Dong Huangtai saw Wang Feng leaving, he immediately stopped pretending to be an outsider and followed after him as soon as the teacup was thrown away. He was afraid that the waiter would come to him to pay the bill. He just showed his skills and shocked everyone, and then he was found to be eating the king's meal. Then he lost a lot of face. After all, he is also the great prophet of the human race. Even the humans on this planet don't know him at all. This person, but Dong Huangtai did not intend to make such a fool of himself. Tang Haoshan was stunned for a moment, then quickly grabbed the weapon on the table and chased after him. The waiter on the side saw that Wang Feng was about to leave directly, and couldn't help but become a little anxious. However, looking at the situation at the scene, he did not dare to go up directly. I wanted money, and I was so anxious that I was sweating. Wang Feng was also depressed at this time. He originally planned to fly away from the rooftop directly after having dinner with Dong Huangtai. Even if it caused a sensation, he didn't care. Anyway, he was leaving soon and would not do anything in the future. There's a chance I'll come back again. Besides, since I helped them solve such a big crisis, it's not too much to eat them, right? Unexpectedly, the appearance of Tang Haoshan and the others directly disrupted his plan. Although Tang Haoshan did not know him, Wang Feng was embarrassed to eat the king's meal in front of him. It's just that they had wiped out the food on the table long ago. Even if they wanted to pretend to eat for a while until Tang Haoshan left, it would be impossible, so Hizao bit the bullet and walked outside. Looking at the anxious waiter on his side, Wang Feng looked at Tang Haoshan who was chasing after him. Suddenly, his heart moved and he stopped. By the way, there is something, please help me deal with it. Yes. Chief. Tang Haoshan was stunned for a moment, and then immediately agreed. Although Wang Feng did not wear a military rank on his shoulders, he who dared to call Hate Wuxian by his first name was definitely right to call him chief. Well, because I have to carry out a secret mission. Because of the needs of this mission, I came here to have a meal. However, for fear of exposing my identity, I didn't bring my wallet, so, you can help me finish this meal first. He paid for the meal in advance and went to Henwuvu to ask for it, saying that the person who suggested he change his name asked for it. Wang Feng said with some uncertainty in his heart. Oh. Yes. Chief. Tang Haoshan stood at attention again. I sighed secretly in my heart, the chief is the chief, he is so awesome, how dare he persuade the guy with endless hatred to change his name. When most people see him, they would be considered good if they could speak complete sentences. Hearing Tang Haoshan's agreement, Wang Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then with a wave of his hand, a set of military uniforms and a large piece of mutated beast meat flew towards Tang Haoshan. This military uniform is given to you. It's a thank you for helping me. Remember, stew the meat when you get it back, and then eat it all, don't leave any behind. You can find some comrades worthy of your trust to join you. There is no weapon left in his Xianyuan space, and the only ones he can use are military uniforms and mutant beast meat. There is no problem with military uniforms, but mutated beast meat can easily be found out whether it is a product of this planet. Therefore, Wang Feng will let Tang Haoshan eat it all at once. After discovering the benefits of this meat, it is no longer available and can be given to him. He saves himself some trouble. Besides, he gave him a set of military uniforms. Li Yingning would definitely know about this matter. Li Yingning, who knew his strength well, didn't know that he had left Atlantis, so he would definitely not make things difficult for Tang Haoshan. Maybe they will give him some help. This can be regarded as compensation for letting Tang Haoshan drain his blood. Eating mutant beast meat will probably at least make Tang Haoshan and his comrades become first-level enhancers, enough to become superhuman in this world. Existence, at least, after systematic training, those warrior kings will definitely not be their opponents. After the matter was explained, Wang Feng hurriedly left. He didn't want to see Tang Haoshan's reaction after knowing how much he had eaten, and Dong Huangtai naturally followed quickly. Seeing Wang Feng and Dong Huangtai fleeing away, Tang Haoshan was a little puzzled, but when he lowered his head and saw the military uniform and the large piece of meat in his hand, he couldn't help but grinned. He didn't care about the flesh, but looking at the camouflage of the military uniform in his hand, he knew that it should be the same style as the one Wang Feng was wearing. Such a handsome military uniform, and now he also has one. Tang Haoshan still doesn't know that, in fact, the piece of meat that has brought him the greatest help is the piece of meat that he doesn't care about now. Many years later, when Tang Haoshan, who was called a human weapon by people in the military circles, was asked why he was so powerful, his answer was, "Because I was cheated. I bought a very expensive piece of meat." When Wang Feng and Dong Huangtai left the hotel door and came outside, he heard Tang Haoshan's screams on the rooftop. Two people ate so much. Do you think I'm a humming pig, or do you think they're pigs? Wang Feng smiled softly, and then found a secluded place with Dong Huang Tai, then picked up Dong Huang Tai and raised it straight into the air. After arriving in outer space, Wang Feng directly took out the Yanhuang. After the two entered, Wang Feng thought about the flight route of the Kali tribe that the third child had told him, and based on his memory, he drove the Yanhuang, flying in one direction. Atlantis was gradually left behind by them, and eventually disappeared completely. Wang Feng stared blankly at the place where Atlantis disappeared, and sighed softly. Finally, his final journey began. Call. Wang Feng turned around, looked at Dong Huang Tai, and then went directly to the chair behind the console. After connecting a few hairs, he set the sailing speed and direction, and said, "Okay. Now, you can start telling the story. I hope you won't be like the two Dong Huang Tai I met, who only say half of everything and leave the other half." Dong Huang Tai came to Wang Feng, looked at the vast universe, and said softly, "Actually, I'm not the third one, I'm the second one." Ah. Wang Feng didn't understand. "Don't you understand?" Dong Huang Tai looked at Wang Feng, and then turned back to the porthole. "I am the second Dong Huang Tai you saw, the one in the land of divine punishment. I'll go." Wang Feng suddenly jumped up. "Aren't you with Lazy Eye and the others? Why, when did you come here? Have you been following us?" "Of course not." Dong Huang Tai shook his head. "I'm not here, but I'm going to the land of divine punishment." Wang Feng blinked and said nothing, because what Dong Huang Tai said now was not very human, so of course it was difficult for him to understand. Turning to look at Wang Feng's expression, Dong Huang Tai seemed very satisfied. He took a deep breath and then began to explain Wang Feng in detail. "The Eastern Emperor Tai you met in the land of divine punishment was me, but it was me many years later. Didn't I ask you a question? Do you know what the multiverse is? This is the answer. Although you returned to Atlantis before and saw me and other people you are familiar with, I guess you even visited your childhood self. But in fact, these people, including yourself you see, are actually different from the people in your universe. The place you are in now is not your original universe, so what you want to do is not the same as the people in your universe. It's not about changing history. The multiverse, you can think of it as a mirror universe, or a copy of another universe. There are many universes in this world, and they are parallel. Generally speaking, there is a universe between them. There will never be a crossover. And in each multiverse, their time is not synchronized, and the development of things is not exactly the same. Just like now, in your universe, you have already experienced the end of the world, experienced the Devourer army and the universe the invasion of ghosts. But in our universe, it will take more than 10 years for the end of the world to come. Now, even more because of your appearance, there may not be another end of the world at all. This is the development trajectory of the multiverse. They have something in common. Just like the people in your universe, we also have them in our universe. But the same people in different universes have different life trajectories. Exactly the same. Just like you, in your universe, you have become such a strong person now, but in our universe, you are still just a child. If the end of the world does not come, then he may live an ordinary life. I will never be as powerful as you in my life. Even if the end of the world comes to Atlantis in this universe, he may die directly at the beginning of the end of the world and exit early. You should know that Tang Haoshan, right? The piece of implication you gave him just now will have no impact on him. It is said that beast meat with huge life energy is enough to change the trajectory of his life, making his future completely different from that of Tang Haoshan in your universe. Wang Feng was silent for a long time to digest the information he got, but he suddenly had a question. "So, you Do you belong to our universe or this universe? I. Dong Huangtai smiled. Me? Of course I belong to this universe. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 938. Then why did I come to this universe? Can we travel between other universes at will? Wang Feng now has many questions in his mind, but his mood is much better now than before. At least he understands that what he is traveling through is not time, but another dimensional universe. Wang Feng previously thought that he had traveled through time and returned to the era when he was a child. Therefore, he believed that when he changed the course of history, he would directly disappear as a result. In particular, this also coincides with the 8 prophecies he heard from Fuxi, defeating the enemy of eternal life and entering the world of reincarnation. He had just destroyed the eternal enemy with eternal life, the Forgotten Ones, and now he traveled through time and space and returned to his childhood. Wouldn't this just be entering the world of reincarnation? And the prophecy ends here. Is it because of my strange wind that my life ends here? But now Wang Feng knows that he is not going back to the past to change history at all. Even if he really kills the Devourer brood, he will not be affected in any way. However, after knowing that he will not die, and after being in another universe, Wang Feng began to think about how to return to his own universe, because there were still people and things he cared about there. It's not a random time travel. Dong Huangtai shook his head and said. Every universe has a two-way entrance and exit to other universes. That is to say, from your universe, you can only reach our universe. If you want to go to other universes, you can only do it by finding our universe. However, I think you are not interested in other universes, right? Both directions. Wang Feng's eyes lit up. In other words, can I still return to my universe? Certainly. Dong Huangtai smiled and said. After we solve the trouble here, I will help you find the dimensional passage and return to your universe. Good. Wang Feng suddenly became energetic when he heard that he could return to his own universe, but then his expression became a little sad, because even if he knew that he could go back, it would only be a few years later. He must first intercept the Kali tribe, and then destroy the cosmic ghosts, because if he does not complete these things, it is unlikely that the Eastern Emperor Tai of this universe will directly take him to find the dimensional passage back. During this period of time, I don't know if the Hope Expeditionary Force can persist in the land of God's punishment, and I don't know if Lu Wanting and Lin Li can get out of that mysterious space after he disappears, and whether they can wait for his return. However, it is useless for Wang Feng to worry about these things. He can only focus on space navigation, completing his mission in this universe first, and then thinking about going back. Dong Huangtai, how did you know I would come? Wang Feng asked. They were going to intercept the Kali tribe's spaceship now. It would take a long time. During this period, Wang Feng did not intend to just pass by so casually. At least he wanted to get something he wanted from Dong Huangtai's mouth. Just the information you need to know. It's a long story to talk about. Dong Huangtai. It's okay. We have plenty of time. Wang Feng shrugged his shoulders. Anyway, it was useless for him to be anxious now. He had to kill the Devourer before he could have a chance to return to his own universe. Therefore, Wang Feng was finally settled. All right. Dong Huangtai. It's okay anyway. I'll try my best to say what I can. Dong Huangtai came to the console and tapped the control panel twice with his hair. A chair rose from the floor. Dong Huangtai sat on it and raised his head to the sky. Then, with an illusory voice, he began to tell his own experience. At the same time, it is also the reason why Wang Feng came here, and the reason why Dong Huangtai appeared in the land of divine punishment. There are many multiverses. No one knows the specific number. I think it is even endless. Moreover, Two adjacent universes can influence each other, just like now. Your arrival may make us in this universe. The historical process of Atlantis has been rewritten, and it will not encounter the end of the world like Atlantis in your universe. You should know that the human race, no, all intelligent creatures were born on the original star. The same is true in this universe, and in terms of the development trajectory of major events, our two universes are almost the same. The humans here also left the primal star and were attacked by the ghosts of the universe. However, when the humans in our universe left the primordial star, I was the leader. I am the great prophet of the human race and can predict the future, but some futures, even if I can predict them, are still unavoidable. Just like the galaxy where the human race's home star is located will be attacked by the ghost of the universe, even if I knew it in advance, but it cannot be avoided. This is a disaster that the human race must experience. It is difficult for me to explain why. Maybe this is the arrangement of the founder. After I got the dream that predicted the future, I got another revelation. This revelation, it is the last glimmer of hope for our human race. Although this glimmer of hope cannot save the entire human race, it may even just delay the time when the cosmic ghost finds our human race's home star or Atlantis by thousands or tens of thousands of years, but at least the human race is still there is a chance and there is hope. And this glimmer of hope is brought by you. Not only the human race in our universe, but also the human race in your own universe will also be saved because of your time traveling. That's why. When the human race was about to leave the primordial star, I took the initiative to lead the team. And let Fuxi stay in the primordial star and take charge of the overall situation. The development of our home planet here is a little better than that of your universe, because Xianyuan in this universe is not dead, and the Xianyuan sword is also on his body, so they can enter the ancient road and deliver supplies to the human race on the home star. However, this is not enough for the human race to regain its former glory. The real opportunity for the rise of the human race lies with you. Dong Huangtai turned his head and looked at Wang Feng, then looked at the ceiling again. Actually, if we speak strictly, I left my home planet and came to Atlantis to wait for you to appear. In fact, it was not to save Atlantis, but to save the human race in your universe. Because only when you come can I reach your universe and then guide you here. This sounds contradictory, because you came to this universe because I came to the place of divine punishment in your universe to guide you. But the reason why I can reach your universe to guide you is because you came to this universe. But this is the fact. After we kill the devourer, we can go to the mother star, then enter the ancient passage and return to the original star. After that, we can enter the land of God's punishment, and you can return to your own it's in the universe. Only from the place of divine punishment can I return to my universe. Wang Feng asked. Of course. Only the land of God's punishment has a dimensional space. That is, the mysterious space and dimensional passage you encountered before coming here is also there. Dong Huangtai said. Then, you will also enter the passage with me. Wang Feng looked at Dong Huangtai. I remember that there was another you in that land of divine punishment. If you also went there, in the land of divine punishment, would there be two Dong Huangtai? Of course not. Dong Huangtai shook his head. I said that the time nodes of our two universes are different. You are originally a creature of that universe, so when you return to your own universe, you will return according to your time node, and I will be better than you. For many thousands of years in the morning, I will wait for you to appear in the land of divine punishment, and then send you here to pick me up. Wang Feng felt that his brain seemed to be a bit insufficient. Wasn't what Dong Huangtai said a bit too mysterious? When two people pass through the dimensional gate together, there will be a time difference of tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years. You don't have to think about this. There are many things in this world that cannot be explained at all. Dong Huangtai looked at the universe outside the porthole. All we have to do is to establish a clear goal in our hearts and then work hard to achieve it. Only in this way will life not be boring. Your goal is to revitalize the human race. Wang Feng looked at Dong Huangtai. No. Dong Huangtai withdrew his gaze, looked at the ceiling, and said softly. That's not my goal, that's my responsibility. Then what is your goal? Wang Feng said again. My goal. Dong Huangtai thought about it seriously. I don't have a personal goal. If I have to say one, it would be to do my best to protect my responsibilities. Later, Dong Huangtai turned to Wang Feng. What about you? What is your goal in life? Dong Huangtai's words made Wang Feng stunned. If he still had a goal in life before the end of the world, after entering the end of the world, this goal gradually became blurred. He wanted to continue the hope of mankind and bring him with him. People around you rebuild their homes. But in the end, let alone rebuilding their homeland, they were not even able to save Atlantis and were forced to leave. Although they found a place to live on their home planet, strictly speaking, they were still a group of homeless people. Interstellar Wanderer. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 939. As for after entering the ancient passage, Wang Feng led the Hope Expeditionary Army all the way to the land of God's punishment. Wang Feng seemed to have never thought about where the end of the road they were walking was. He only knew that there was only this road in front of him. No matter where it led, he had to keep going until he fell. My goal. Wang Feng smiled gently. Maybe, just to survive. Take the people around you and try to survive. Forget it. Let's not talk about such a dull topic. Dong Huangtai, when I met you in the land of God's punishment, you once said that you had lost the ability to predict. You should not have lost this ability now, right? Is there anything to remind me? Wang Feng changed the subject. Actually, there is nothing to say. You have now embarked on a road that cannot be turned back. Just keep going in your own way. Sometimes, knowing the future trajectory will be disadvantageous to you. Dong Huangtai did not meet Wang Feng's requirements. Okay. Anyway, I'm used to it. However, you said that the 8 prophecies were not complete. It shouldn't be a problem to tell me the complete prophecy. Wang Feng shook his head. The Dong Huangtai in this universe seemed to be not much different from the one in his own universe. Dong Huangtai did not immediately refuse Wang Feng's request. After thinking about it, he finally sighed. I will tell you this, but not now, and not now I can tell you. As for the reason, you will understand it later. In short, you just need to remember that no matter what happens, as long as you keep your heart and act according to your style, the scene in my dream will definitely appear. Although, I can't wait until that time, but I still look forward to you being able to reach that step. Wang Feng looked back at Dong Huangtai's expression and found that he was unusually serious, so he stopped asking and just nodded. He seemed to understand a little bit. The reason why Dong Huangtai had been hiding and unwilling to tell him everything was probably because he was restricted by something. Thinking of this guy, who was about to travel to his own universe and endure a long period of loneliness, Wang Feng admired him very much. Dong Huangtai was the same as the 3 emperors of the human race, and they were all willing to pay any price for the human race. As for why the Dong Huangtai in his universe, on the original star, was different from this one, Wang Feng couldn't figure it out now, but he felt that he would definitely understand what secrets were hidden in it in the future, as long as he could live forever. The voyage in the universe was dull and boring. In this vast and silent universe, there were only him and Dong Huangtai, and the scenery outside, to be honest, basically couldn't see any difference. All the stars didn't look much different in appearance. If someone hadn't been to the universe, they might be intoxicated by this magnificent and deep universe, but after a long time, they would completely lose interest. Wang Feng even looked forward to finding a deck of playing cards, at least to kill some time, because he was going to stay in this space battleship with Dong Huangtai for a few years. After their warships had been sailing in the universe for more than 6 years, the space probe of the Yanhuang finally found a spaceship. Wang Feng was immediately excited. According to the route of this spaceship, it should be the Kali spaceship that Xiaolumi Sangxiao and the others were on. Wang Feng switched the Yanhuang back to manual driving and then drove towards the spaceship. He did not want to kill the Kali spaceship directly. Although the Xiaolumi Sangxiao on this spaceship were not the 3 Kali people he knew, and they had not even entered Atlantis yet, so it was impossible for them to be called Wang Sha, Wang Lu, and Wang Mi. But after all, they were also people that Wang Feng knew, and the current Kali people had not yet launched the apocalyptic skyfire against Atlantis, so they could be regarded as having no grudges with the human race. The current Kali people were just a group of interstellar wanderers who had lost their homes and wandered around. Especially, behind them, there is the Devourer, an enemy that is almost invincible to them, so their mood is definitely not happy. Soon, the Kali tribe's spaceship also discovered the Yanhuang driven by Wang Feng, and could not help but reduce the speed. Although the Yanhuang was not a battleship of the Devourer and the Space Ghost, any race in this universe could be their enemy, especially for the Kali tribe now, who lost their homes and fled in embarrassment, and there are pursuers behind them. Especially now, the Kali tribe's spaceship is not a space battleship, and it is not suitable to fight against the Yanhuang, which is obviously a flagship-level space battleship in the universe. Although they also have naval guns on their spaceship, the energy of their spaceship is not very sufficient and cannot be wasted easily. As for the Kali tribe's optical transmission system, it has no effect in air combat. Leader, what should we do? The blue helmet stood behind the blue-eyed old man of the Kali tribe and asked while looking at the screen of the detector. The style of this battleship looks like a human space battleship. The human race is not a warlike race and should not actively attack us. Just slow down and keep moving forward. The leader of the Kali tribe said softly that he had no other way now. Not to mention that there were Devourer soldiers behind them. Even if there were not, judging from the speed of the space battleship opposite, they would not be able to attack them if they wanted to. Get rid of. We can only take one step at a time. Fortunately, the reputation of the human race in the original star is pretty good, and they will not easily go to war with any race. Even when the human race was in its heyday, it was never heard of the human race taking the initiative to provoke other races. Naturally, the leader of the Kali tribe didn't know that there were only 2 people in the human warship opposite, and that it was specially sent to intercept their spaceship and ask them to change its direction. Although Wang Feng intends to kill the Devourer's brood directly and is not afraid that the Kali tribe's spaceship will lead the Devourer to Atlantis, after all, the Kali tribe's spaceship is also harmful to Atlantis. It is considered a threat. Once they know that Devourer will be eliminated by themselves and lose the threat of pursuers, who knows whether they will have the idea of occupying Atlantis. Therefore, no matter what, they cannot be allowed to continue along this route and reach Atlantis. The Yanhuang quickly approached the Kali spacecraft. In order to prevent the Kali from attacking him, Wang Feng also turned on the Yanhuang's energy shield. Looking at the Kali spacecraft in front of him, Wang Feng suddenly remembered something. Dong Huang Tai. You said, Taiwang Xianyuan is on the home planet now. Wang Feng looked at Dong Huang Tai doubtfully and asked. Yes. Dong Huang Tai was stunned. He couldn't understand why Wang Feng suddenly remembered to ask Xianyuan something when he saw the Kali tribe's spaceship. As far as I know, our Devourer of the universe was a race created by Xianyuan after he used his consciousness to occupy the body of a cosmic ghost and penetrated them as a cosmic ghost. Wang Feng said. But, in your universe, it seems that Xianyuan did not follow the trajectory of our universe and enter the group of cosmic ghosts, but stayed on the home planet. Then, why does the devourer race still appear? He. Dong Huangtai chuckled and said. Remember what I just said? Sometimes, even though you know the future development trajectory, you don't have the ability to change it. Just like the destruction of our home star's galaxy, although I predicted it in advance, but there is still no way to avoid disaster. The same goes for the devourer race. He is a race destined to appear. Regardless of whether there is Xianyuan or not, there will be devourers in this world. If Xianyuan is no longer there will naturally be other people among the ghosts of the universe to study and create this race. There are some things that we can change through our own efforts, but there are some things that no matter what you do, he will move forward according to his own predetermined track. Perhaps this is the rule of heaven and earth. Then, if the future of our human race is already determined, does it mean that it will be the same regardless of whether we do it or not? Wang Feng said. Just like the Kali tribe in front of us, if the Atlantis planet in your universe is destined not to have an apocalypse, then even if we don't intercept them, they won't be able to find Atlantis, or even the same goes for the devourer. Whether we go to kill the brood or not, the fate of the human race will be the same. Of course not. Although it is inevitable that the home star system will be attacked, if our human race had given up at that time, then the home star would no longer exist. The cosmic ghost will never show mercy to our home star. Open up your net. Dong Huangtai replied. What we are doing now can actually be regarded as challenging the rules of heaven and earth. Although there is a saying that God is destined, there is also a saying that man is destined to conquer nature. We may not be able to change the end of the road we are walking and its length, but we can try to change its width and route. This is the meaning of our life. Dong Huangtai looked at the Kali tribe's spaceship, then stood up and walked to Wang Feng's side, patted his shoulder lightly and said. So, boy, I think you should go out and talk to those Kali guys now. We still have a lot of work to do later. Wang Feng looked at Dong Huangtai, then at the Kali tribe's spaceship, and suddenly smiled. Then, he stood up and walked out of the control hall. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 940. At this time, the Kali people in the Kali tribe's spaceship were looking at the Yanhuang nervously. Fortunately, although the Yanhuang had turned on its shield, its cannons had not been charged, and it seemed that they had no intention of attacking. Therefore, they just stopped their spaceship and kept a little distance from the Yanhuang to see what this human warship wanted to do. Chief. Is that the human race? The blue helmet suddenly pointed in the direction of the Yanhuang and shouted. A small fighter plane popped out of the Yanhuang's fighter launch hole and flew towards them. Seeing this situation, the people of the Kali tribe finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that this human space battleship does not intend to attack them, otherwise it cannot just send a small fighter plane over. Send the signal. Guide the small fighter plane to land. The leader of the Kali tribe turned to Red Helmet and said, but Red Helmet did not do it immediately. Instead, he pointed at the screen and said, This is. The leader of the Kali tribe turned around and looked over, and couldn't help but be startled. They hadn't sent out a signal to guide the small human fighter plane, but the other side had already flown directly towards the small landing pad of their spaceship and completed the docking on its own. Open the door. The words of the leader of the Kali clan are a bit unflattering. Their spaceship is their latest spaceship. Although it is not a space battleship, it is more expensive than a space battleship because the spaceship is mainly designed to explore the universe. It is impossible for the human race to obtain the information about this spaceship. Why is it that the small fighter plane is on their own spaceship, just like going home? Of course the Kali people in this universe don't know that Wang Feng has visited their ship more than once, and even their light transmission system was later transferred to the Yanhuang by Wang Feng. So of course Wang Feng is familiar with their spaceship. Seeing the hatch open, Wang Feng walked directly in. Since he didn't know that Wang Feng would land directly from here, the Kali tribe hadn't had time to arrange for people to come over to greet him. However, Wang Feng didn't need this, and he walked towards the spacecraft in a familiar way. Go to the captain's room. Seeing Wang Feng's performance, the people of the Kali tribe were not calm, but the people were already here, and they could only meet them first. No matter what, they had to figure out the purpose of the human tribe's visit first. When Wang Feng walked halfway, the Kali tribe appeared in front of them. They were the red helmet and blue helmet that Wang Feng had seen in his own universe. The two came to Wang Feng and nodded to him. Dignified guest from the human race. Please come with me. Red helmet said politely to Wang Feng. Wang Feng nodded and said, yeah. Trouble. No matter what, the Kali tribe saved his life, not to mention that the original version of Xian Yuan sword that he got, the Blade of Apocalypse, was the one they brought to Atlantis. Therefore, for the Kali tribe, even though they once launched the apocalyptic Sci-Fi in their own universe, Wang Feng had no hatred in his heart for them. Perhaps as Dong Huangtai said, there are many things that cannot be changed by humans. Arriving at the captain's room, Wang Feng finally met the old man of the Kali tribe. Looking at this familiar face, Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh. He walked directly to the blue-eyed old man and nodded to him. Hello. Leader of the Kali tribe. I'm from the human race. My name is Wang Feng. Hello. Human race. The green-eyed old man nodded and asked with some confusion. Have we seen it before? Besides, you seem to be very familiar with our spaceship. Kindness. Wang Feng nodded. That's right. But time is tight, so I won't explain that much. Let's get straight to the point. I basically understand the experience of your Kali tribe, and I also know that the Devourer is chasing you at this time. My goal here is the Devourer's brood, because they may pose a threat to our human planet. So we plan to kill him and let the Devourers, a race created by the ghosts of the universe, disappear from this world. And, if possible, I hope you can change the route. You said. You want to kill the Devourer brood. The green-eyed old man looked at Wang Feng excitedly and asked, as for changing the route? If the human race can really destroy the Devourer, they can return. Although their planet has been destroyed by the Devourer, as long as the planet is not destroyed and the enemies are killed, they can still rebuild their home. Right. Wang Feng nodded firmly. This is my mission. But, you, only have this one space battleship. The Devourer army is. The green-eyed old man said hesitantly. I know. Wang Feng interrupted the blue-eyed old man unceremoniously. He has a brood, a prince, 10 brood guards and an army of millions of Devourers. Believe me, I know more about Devourers than you do, and I also know that they are not natural. The races that appeared have never been to the original star. They are just a subsidiary race created by the ghost of the universe to help them find prey. After hearing Wang Feng's words, the blue-eyed old man looked at the people around him. The other Kali tribe members nodded to the old man, indicating that he was the one who made the decision. Among these people, Wang Feng did not find Killer Sangxiao, but then it dawned on me. The Kali tribe has not yet reached Atlantis, so at this time, the killing 3 little ones are still in normal shape and wearing helmets. Of course, Wang Feng cannot tell them apart, and besides, they are not the ones he knows. There were 3 people, so Wang Feng gave up. Okay. If you can really kill the Devourers, then the human race will be the benefactor of our Kali tribe. If we return to the original star, we will definitely repay the human race. The green-eyed old man thought for a moment and nodded to Wang Feng. In this case, you can change the direction for a while, or you can follow us from a distance and don't get close. After we kill the Devourer's nest, if your planet has not been completely destroyed, maybe you can rebuild your home. Wang Feng said to the blue-eyed old man that he understood these people's planet very well, because in his understanding, the Atlantis star in his universe had been destroyed, and they could never return to where they were born. That planet. Okay. We'll follow you. The blue-eyed old man made the decision without hesitation, and all the Kali people around him did not have any objections. No one wanted to leave their familiar homeland and go back to make their dreams, no matter how broken, that is at least their home. On another planet, they would never be able to find that familiar and friendly feeling. Wang Feng nodded and said no more. He turned around and was about to leave when he suddenly remembered something and turned back towards the console of the spacecraft. Seeing Wang Feng's actions, the Kali people were confused, but the blue-eyed old man was not. It meant to stop him, so the other Kali people did not make any move. Wang Feng came to the front of the console, opened a door under the console with ease, then stretched his hand in, instilling the life energy in his body. After feeling that it was about the same, he took back his hand and closed the door. Stood up and said, "Give me the location of the Devourers. I need their coordinates." The old man from the Kali tribe quickly nodded to a red helmet next to him and motioned for him to give Wang Feng a copy of his spaceship's star map. After getting a copy of the star map, Wang Feng nodded to the blue-eyed old man and said, "I have replenished some energy for you. Although it is not full, at least your energy shield can be turned on at any time. Even if you follow us, you will have a certain ability to protect yourself when encountering the Devourer. Goodbye." Afterwards, Wang Feng stopped staying and left the captain's room directly, returning to the original route. Red Helmet and Blue Helmet quickly followed to see Wang Feng off. "Chief. That human really replenished our spaceship with energy. Now the energy reserve has exceeded 50%. A guy wearing a green helmet, after operating the console a few times, raised his head and said in surprise, "You know, the energy reserve of their spaceship was already less than 20%. Wang Feng said, "Just give their spaceship more than 30% charge. The human race, what do they want to do?" The green-eyed old man looked at the direction Wang Feng was leaving and fell into deep thought, because he knew that even in the original star, the Kali tribe had little contact with the human race, and what Wang Feng was doing now seemed to be a bit too good to them. However, Wang Feng definitely has no ill intentions towards the Kali tribe, because judging from the life fluctuations emanating from Wang Feng's body, if Wang Feng wanted to harm the Kali tribe just now, the Kali tribe would not be able to resist it just by him. At this time, Wang Feng had returned to his fighter plane. Then, the fighter plane began to return towards the Yanhuang. Watching Wang Feng's small fighter plane leave, the blue-eyed old man of the Kali tribe sighed softly. He knew that Wang Feng must have had some interaction with the Kali tribe, otherwise he would not have been so generous to them. Not only did he not attack them, he even replenished their spaceship with energy. There is no love without reason in this world. There must be a reason for Wang Feng to do this. Moreover, judging from his familiarity with the Kali spaceship, we know that if he has not seen the Kali spaceship, he would not. Maybe we can just find a place like a spaceship to transmit energy. Naturally, the old man of the Kali tribe didn't know that in another universe, Wang Feng had done this before, delivering energy to a spaceship exactly like theirs. After returning to Yanhuang, Dong Huangtai did not ask Wang Feng how things were going, because he already knew the outcome. Dong Huangtai could vaguely see the future. However, due to the limitations of the rules of heaven and earth, he can't just say it directly.